All right. Looks like we are live. It looks like we are going. So I'm going to go ahead and kick things off and get started. Hi, everybody. Good evening. We are so excited that you are here joining us. Welcome to our College Knowledge Foundation's Giving Tuesday live event. Again, I can't stress enough how excited I am that we all are actually that you are here. We're going to talk about some awesome stuff together. My name is Katie Avis. I've had the amazing opportunity to be involved as part of the College Knowledge team for, gosh, going on a couple of years now, I think, Donovan,
Yeah.
which is so much fun. We love it. And within my role, focusing on marketing and resources and coordinating those types of things for our different volunteers, I've got to see firsthand the impact of the work that we're doing, how it's benefiting students and their families, not just the students, but the people that are then supporting them as well throughout this whole process, as they really try to focus on the college search process, which we know it can be pretty daunting. So the fact that we are getting to see how much our hard work is benefiting our students is so meaningful and so exciting. Now, tonight, the reason that you are here with us, right? Tonight, we are excited to talk more about what we've been accomplishing throughout the year, the lives we've touched, the ways that we are continuing to grow and expand. You'll get to hear stories from our team, insights from students that we've worked with, and updates on some really exciting things that we've been doing and some progress that we've made. So, really good stuff. Now, to kick things off, I'm really excited to introduce the heart, the visionary behind the College Knowledge Foundation. Yours, or not yours truly, excuse me, none other than our founder, Mr. Donovan Lindsay. Now, Donovan's dedication and his passion has really been this driving force behind our mission to really empower students with not just the support, the knowledge, but also the tools, the resources, all the amazing things that they need to really pursue their college dreams and start with the college search process and then continue moving forward. So, Donovan, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Of
And thank
course.
you for all that you're doing and you continue to do. I know personally, just through our conversations, your brain never stops, and that is awesome. And, we, the students that we're benefiting, or excuse me, not benefiting, well, hopefully benefiting, the students that we're supporting also definitely get to make the most of the fact that your brain is always coming up with ideas. It's never stopping. So we're really happy about that. Um, so let's start. We're going to jump
Yeah.
right in. We'll talk a little bit about what really inspired you to create College Knowledge, such a unique idea that has turned into something so amazing, and then how we've evolved, excuse me, since those early days. How many years ago? Gosh, feels like
So
forever.
about four.
Oh my gosh.
So actually, thinking about it, when we were still working at admissions, like last week would have been the week of Thanksgiving. And I remember having the idea for college knowledge or having the thought that there was an issue out there the week after. Because I remember during the pandemic, so this was late 2020, when I was on Zoom. And I remember it was the week after Thanksgiving. I'm like, people aren't going to show up. And half the times we're sitting there looking at ourselves for the first 10 or 15 minutes waiting for a student to show up. And someone joins. And I remember it was either that Tuesday or that Wednesday. So it's almost like a full circle moment that we're doing this now because I do remember it was like the Tuesday or Wednesday after Thanksgiving. And I just remember this student and his sister. His sister was a recent college graduate, and he was a student who was in high school. Senior, had just applied to Penn State. And at the time, that's where I was still working. And I just remember 90% of what we talked about had nothing to do with Penn State. It had to do just overall with college because his sister was a recent college graduate, and she said to me, she's like, I can't even help him because I didn't know what to do. So just looking at them, we spent an hour and a half, 2 hours on Zoom, and it's crazy to think how that one little instance kind of heightened my senses because over the next couple of weeks until winter break, or around the time where the students then get off, for Christmas and the New Year's and the different holidays, I just remember talking with so many more students who had absolutely no idea what to do, how to get started. And from that, I'm like, what's out there? So I just remember doing myself some research and thinking to myself, if I was a high school student or even a parent, where would I go? So I remember clearing my browsing history on Google and like I was searching for the first time, what's out there. And there's some really good websites and there's some websites that aren't very good. But even the really good websites, there's just a lot of information that's there and you don't know what you need when you need it. And kind of the basis of why I really thought about starting something like this was simply because you don't know what you don't know. So I was like, how could we kind of put them in the know and guide them almost step by step as to what they need? And if college is even for them, I mean, one of our sessions that we offer now is college even for you? So sometimes I recognize that that's not the case. I mean, my job right now, recruiting full time, I know that that's not something that is for everyone because most of the people that I recruit in my full time job it's all dealing with manufacturing. They need to have certifications and different things, having gone to like a trade school or something. So I'm well aware that college isn't for everyone, but for those of the people who want to go to college, we're here. We're here to definitely help.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's so incredible, I think, to hear how, an interaction that might seem so simplistic, could be just like a normal day for somebody, could turn into something so incredible. So
Yeah.
talking about that, I want to take that idea and expand on that a little bit more. Can you talk about how college knowledge has evolved since that initial, conversation, since that initial Google search of, all right, let's see what's out there so we can go from there. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about how things have grown and the
Exponentially.
incredible things that you're doing?
So originally having the idea and just kind of talking about it with people, oftentimes you think you have a great idea, but that idea lives in your head. So just really beginning to get feedback. There was no feedback that I got where someone was like, no, I don't think so. Like usually you get at least one person where it's like, maybe I'm not going to do it because, maybe they're right. I didn't get anything like that in the 4 years that I've been doing this now. That was since we've started College Knowledge. So I tested the theory with about 12 high school students one night in April of, I think it was April of 2021. A couple like months later after the idea, kind of developing content and different things like that. And I did a 45 to hour long session and called it Beginning Your College Search. So literally, if you had the thought of starting college, what would you then do next? And from there, basically, the parents were like, Donovan, all of what you've said, we've never really heard of. So on one hand, I'm like, oh, great. On the other hand, I'm like, not great. Because we think in college admissions that you know so much more than you're actually being told. And, having been an out-of-state recruiter, when working at Penn State, I got the privilege to travel, all to many different states and many different countries where I was able to see at times they understood what I was saying, or it was going kind of just like way over their head. So thinking about that, I was like, everyone's kind of at their own different levels, their own spots. How do I then develop content from one session to really accommodate more? So we took the one session that we had the idea for, and we begin to think about what could be something else. So we decided that one session is split into two, which we did. And then we also thought about another one of the pain points, not just about overall college admissions, but how do you pay for college? So talking about financial aid. So we also began to develop a financial aids course or session. And right now, I think we've got content for about 15 or 16 different sessions, ranging from is college for you to helping with college essays or college interviewing or doing a mock interview with someone, not just telling them, here's what you need to do to prepare. But I was on Zoom last night for about an hour and a half preparing someone for a dental school interview that they had today at noon, helping people with their college essays, having them submit their essay because I always tell students, ask a teacher, like an English teacher, someone like that before you submit your essay, just so you can get that feedback. But if they don't have someone like that at their school or they don't feel comfortable going to someone, um, they can submit that right to us on our website or email us and we can do that. So the sessions have definitely changed. When we started as a for-profit business. The idea was always to become a nonprofit business. because that's when it opens up a whole new world of different support and resources that you're able to get. So we became a for-profit business, and then with much help on the team, went through the process of becoming a nonprofit organization. And I think in 2 or 3 days from now is when we kind of got the approval from the IRS to actually become a nonprofit organization, which is kind of, why we're here today for Giving Tuesday. But content wise, the sessions have definitely changed. The team has definitely evolved. In addition to, more people know that we're out there, which is great with our social media posts, our following, people in the community. So I work part-time also at Banana Republic on some weekends, which is great because I get a great discount. And I remember being in the store back in maybe July or August, and this lady came up to me. She's like, "Oh, you're the college guy." And like I knew exactly what she meant, and that was such a feeling of like such satisfaction where I was like, I don't know where I know her from, but she knows that I do what I do. So I was like, yeah, and I didn't she? I remember her actually telling me like how she heard about me or had where she'd seen me, but it was just pretty cool, like just a random interaction with someone was like, wait, I know who you are, I know what you do. So things like that have been cool. But we've grown in every single aspect, I would say, over the last four years since the initial idea.
Right. And especially with a world that is ever changing, especially just specifically within the world or within the, realm of the college search process. Things are changing every year. Our students that we're working with, the students that are looking towards college, they're changing as well. So the fact that things
Yeah.
have been steadily ebbing and flowing and changing, and growing for the better just shows all of these amazing resources, and opportunities that are available for students. And clearly, the impact is significant if the woman knew you as the college guy, right?
Yeah.
So that is absolutely wonderful. Now, one thing that you did touch on, with this idea that things are growing, they're changing to fit the needs of our students that we're working with. A couple times you mentioned, the team that you're working with and how, the team has been significant in assisting with different changes and things like that, which thanks. No, I'm kidding. But no, really, can you talk a little bit about the team that you're working with? Um, how their efforts have been impacting, what we've been able to do for our students and things like that.
Yeah, so I couldn't do it alone. I am someone that I feel is very self-aware. So I know my strengths are, I know my weaknesses are. So there was someone that I had worked with initially when I was working in admissions, still college admissions, who I contacted, my friend Cassie, and I was like, "Hey, I've got this idea. I'd love to talk with you about it." And she had recruited similar populations that I'd recruited, and a lot of this populations being underrepresented students. So we saw a huge need. So, our focus for college knowledge has been since we have started, focusing on first generation low income and minority students, because we see so often those are the students that not only struggle getting into college and figuring out that whole, beginning that college journey, but once they're in college also. So I contacted her simply because we'd worked together before, and I needed someone who was stronger where I was weaker. So someone who had a grasp on graphic design, for instance. I mean, the iteration of the logo we have now is something we set on Zoom, and she created on Canva almost 4 years ago. But look, I remember it was like one of the first iterations of the logo, and I'm like, yes, but I knew that wasn't my strong suit. I knew that I wasn't good with social media, so that was something she was going to work on. I knew I'm not organized, and that was something that, she is very organized. So like, I tried to surround myself with people that have the strengths where I'm weak, and I've definitely been able to, over the last 4 years almost, have had, I would say, 40 to 50 people that have been on the team at some points in times. And one of the, I'd say the kind of the backbone of a lot of what we do is the interns that we have on the team. So I've had high school students and college students that have helped. And for us, I'm 32 now. And when I look at a student, I was like, oh, I was there. Like I still see myself as like them seeing me young, but I'm like, I've got gray hairs in my beard now. Like it's not the same. So I know I'm so disconnected with a lot of the terminology, a lot of the trends on social media, with marketing, with so many different things. So I try to onboard a bunch of people who are younger than I am and people with different backgrounds so that, we can have all of this come together from varying perspectives. I have an idea, but then you can have an idea, and then, so many other people can have ideas, and we make that into one idea. But I think over the time since we've started, I've had close to 40 interns that will do a semester or potentially a year-long internship, or I've had people also start an internship. And then after they graduate, they've stayed on the team, which has been great. But every single person that has ever joined the team and every single person that's currently on the team, they share the same vision. They share the same passion. Like they get it. For instance, I mean, you right now, I believe, have been on the team the longest, a little over 3 years now. And I remember us messaging each other back on Facebook back in, I guess this was shortly after we initially launched back in like 2021, and we set up, and I think we were on probably on this Zoom, and we were talking, and I remember you saying, I hate to just insert myself into your business, but how can I help? I really want to do something, but like, it wasn't so many times it hasn't been me asking someone to join the team. People just they share the same passion. So the team has been absolutely amazing and being able to help me grow, help me think outside the box, but also help, kind of just take the reins on so many things themselves. I mean, we started initially with a team of three, and I think the most we've had at one point is probably 15, 16 people who are all volunteers on the team. So when I think about the team, it's a huge, huge asset to me in every sense of the word team. One of the members on the team that I actually want to introduce now is Braden. Braden actually is someone who went through some of our college knowledge sessions and actually had applied also to be a part of the team as an intern. So he just joined the team. I forget how long ago now, but maybe a month or two ago now to help out with redesigning and doing different things on our website. So, when I think about the team, um, I just, I think about how we've evolved and just developed. And I'm like, everything that I've done, I couldn't have done it without the people on the team because I'm only one person. But I'd actually like to turn it over to Braden now to tell you a little bit about himself and kind of give a little bit of introduction.
Thank you, Donovan. Yeah, so my name is Braden Markovich. I'm a sophomore at Penn State, currently studying computer science. And as Donovan mentioned, earlier last month, around beginning of November, I began an internship with College Knowledge Foundation. Managing the website, learning how we can optimize it, and just the analytics associated with it. And also, as he mentioned, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough as a high school student myself, looking to apply to colleges. I had experience with College Knowledge. I was aware of the company, and so I took advantage of some of the sessions that Donovan offered. And yeah, tonight I would just like to, share some of my experiences with College Knowledge as a former high school student.
So, Brittany, can you talk a little about actually like your college search and initially how you got introduced to college knowledge?
Yeah. Initially, my junior year of high school, I was a part of a club called Junior Leadership Cumberland. Basically, what that was, it was a group of high schools in my area, a couple of high schoolers from each high school. We all met once a month at a local business and talked with, business leaders from the community, really with the goal of, developing our leadership skills as high schoolers, so that, it can benefit us, our future careers. And so when I was doing that, you came along. It was also your first year with that organization, and you spoke at a couple of our sessions. It went really well, and that's how we first met. And then a little bit later on my junior year, heading into my senior year, when I was getting a little bit more serious about applying to college, researching more and more, we came into contact with you, asking you, variety of questions. What sessions would you recommend? based on, our needs, our worries at the time. And yeah, you were a great help to us during that time.
And I would say too that Junior Leadership Cumberland has been a great resource for so many students in the area that I live in now. And actually tomorrow I'm off of work. It's one of the days for Junior Leadership Cumberland, the last day for the calendar year until we pick back on up on sessions next year. And that has been something consistently that I've been able to present and talk with the students. And tomorrow I'm actually doing a session for the first time this year, the session that I would have done for you, what, 3 or 4 years ago now. And I think we will just tip over the 1900 mark for the year of students that I've been able to present in front of this year alone. So yeah, definitely, I'm definitely excited to get tomorrow's session under my belt because I definitely love to, talk about college.
Yeah, it has such a great impact at that age right there. Getting that early access to all that information. I mean, it's invaluable part of that process. Yeah.
So, Braden, can you talk about, you just now mentioned that that is such a significant time, to be getting that information, to be getting exposure, to those types of sessions. Thinking back, hopefully your memory is better than, ours is now because we're getting older. But thinking back to that time, when you had, your initial interactions with Donovan during those sessions and things, and when you were going through and starting to think about the college search process, and then, as you mentioned, the college application process, can you think back and talk a little bit about what some of the more stressful parts were about that, like more stressful parts of the college application process, and then kind of to relate to that, what services that you were able to take advantage of during that process through College Knowledge that hopefully were, it sounds like from what you mentioned, they were of help to you. So can you talk a little bit, excuse me, about that process?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, it was no doubt the college essay and the college admissions interview. So I'll start with the essay, talking about that a little bit. Throughout all of my schooling, I'm a computer science major now, so I've always sort of tilted more to math than, English and reading. And that got me through most of school, but I knew that for my college essay, that had to be written with emotion and it had to, strike a certain sense of relatability within the reader. That's what the successful ones were. And, frankly, I had never really written like that before. And so, knowing that, we reached out to Donovan at College of Knowledge, and we utilized his, essay writing session, which is, led by Donovan, former admissions professional. And he sort of just goes over, the tips and tricks, what these colleges look for, what maybe they don't want to see in your college essay. And it really, it was really just confirming time for my essay, confirming my prior beliefs and just teaching me some new things for that. And then once I had it all written, we again went to Donovan, and at College Knowledge, we also offer essay reviews where Donovan and a couple other former admissions professionals will just look over your essay, might critique some parts, leave some suggestions. Of course, still entirely all on me to change those, write the essay, but just leaving those helpful comments and tips on my essay. So that was more about my essay. For my college interview, my top school I wanted to get into, they really were interested in demonstrated interest. And one of the ways to maximize that was participating in an interview with one of their admissions counselors. And so, I was pretty stressed about that. Up until that point in my life, I hadn't really done many interviews before that. So, Donovan, College Knowledge, similarly to the, essay writing session, there's an interviewing session where, he led me through, once again, like the tips and tricks of these interviews, the, emotions and, ways that you should just carry yourself through it. How important it is to think on your feet, but not to get, too flustered, and just some successful strategies and tips if things that are unexpected arise. And so, after working through that, I had a couple mock interview sessions with Donovan, another one of our services here, which really provided me that authentic, interview experience that really had me prepared for the actual interview, which I did, a couple weeks later. I did great, and I got into that school. So, to this day, I believe that, college knowledge was a huge part in my acceptance, to my top school.
Yeah, and I think that so one of the things that I'm not sure if you remember, but I remember either I texted you or I emailed you and I was asking, how'd it go? Because I'm not sure if that was in December. I think that was like this time of year too, a couple of years ago. But I remember one of the things that you said was that I remember you being the most stressed about the whole college process. Like it was the interview, and you knew you had that interview coming up. But then I remember you saying you didn't go into it like cocky, but you went into it pretty confident that you knew what you were talking about. And although we spent an hour or 2 hours on Zoom going through questions and me giving you critiques, I remember you telling me that all of the questions that were asked to you, I had asked to you during the mock interview. There was only a couple of them. It wasn't nearly as long, I remember, as you thought it would be. But for me, I remember reading that email or that text or however we were communicating. I think right away I'd called my mom. And I was like, you'll never guess what happened. Because for me, I'm like, if I could have prepared you literally for the most stressful part of that, that college search journey that you were going through, and then you were to go into it almost with ease and be prepared for those exact questions, even though I had no idea what the exact questions would be, but just kind of knowing some of the more frequently asked questions. But that for me, about a year after I had started the college knowledge officially, I was like, that's it. Like that's the reason why I started this for something like that. So when long story short, when you had applied to for the internship, I was like, no brainer. I remember thinking and talking with other members of the team, and we were like, even if we don't want him for this position, like we need him on the team. Like, who better to be on the team than someone who has seen the other side of it? So, can't thank you enough for being on the team because already you've given us a huge asset with just the website and so many ideas that you've given us too.
Yeah, it's been an honor. Thank you, Donovan.
You got
Yeah,
it.
just
Thank you.
you know, going back to what you said on the interview part, there's no technical questions on those interviews. It's more personality based and um, things of that sort. And so, having that sense of confidence about you is like maybe the most important thing that you can portray to the interviewer. And yeah, like as you said, that all came from our mock interviews.
Yeah. Thank you.
And let's be honest, I think I won't say everybody, but I think most people get at least like the teeniest bit nervous for interviews. So that's completely understandable, but incredible to hear that just that conversation was able to help you so much. And like Donovan said, it honestly did give me chills to think about, when you said that was the part that was the most nerve-wracking for you, the most stressful. And that was something that you felt was addressed. You felt more empowered. I think that's the key part. It's not just supporting students with the College Knowledge Foundation. It's not just supporting students, it's also empowering them. Because this is something like you had to interview, you had to write and submit your essay, right? We're not doing it for you, right? But just the fact that you were able to go through that and you were empowered to be more confident in representing yourself. I love that. So I just wanted to highlight that, but I know that you all already know how significant that is. I just felt the need to highlight that for sure. So sorry. I just love those really good warm fuzzy moments.
Yeah,
I
me
love them
too.
so much. And I feel like there's a lot within the College Knowledge Foundation. There's so many of those good warm fuzzy moments, knowing
Yeah.
that students are getting that support and getting the, empowering information development that they need to be able to build a better chance for their future. So that's my soapbox. But so Donovan, Braden did talk about a couple of the services, the sessions that he participated in,
Mhm.
services that he utilized. Um, that was a couple years ago. We talked about, since the whole full circle moment, we've had a couple years to come full circle. How have things changed in terms of services that are available since Braden's time? Again, I can't
Yeah,
believe we're talking in like years now, but
neither
um,
can I.
right? So we've had a lot of growth. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so originally, we started off with 2 sessions, which has drastically grown now. And one of the things that I would say is one of the reasons that we've grown with any business, you have to listen to your customer. You have to pay attention to their needs because you can always think you know what they want or will you know what they need, but unless you actually will ask them or listen to them, you have no idea what they actually need. So one of the people that inspired me to create one of the services that we have now was someone that I'd worked with at Banana Republic actually, and she had graduated from high school, but she took a gap year for college. She wanted to go to college, but she was taking a gap year, and so much of that stemmed on the stress and anxiety that she had when she was looking into going to college. Her high school didn't do much to prepare her for that, and her parents didn't go, and they were almost as stressed as she was about the whole thing. And with her not kind of understanding the lingo and the application, and at times I feel like almost like going to a doctor's office where they're like, you have such and such and such a virus, and like, oh my gosh, what's that? You have a cold. So it's like, there's so many different words that, that are on applications or that are used on websites for colleges and universities, and it's daunting. It's a daunting thing. So one of the services that I developed from that is an application workshop where basically she got on Zoom with me. I gave her access to share her screen, and she shared her screen, and I walked her through the Common App because she was looking to apply to a couple of schools. So she utilized the Common Application and basically asked me questions as she went through it. She submitted her application. That could have been done a whole year prior if she would have had, the different tools and resources that we offer or someone just to go to. And for so much of what we do, we're really just a resource. I don't at all claim for us to kind of be the end all be all or provide all of the information, but we know people, we know the correct websites that you should go to provide information. I've seen crazy websites where they claim to know, kind of the inside scoop on what every university is looking for. You can put your scores in, your grades, your SAT scores or ACT scores and your GPA and class rank, and they can tell you whether or not you get into a school. That's impossible. I mean, both of us knowing, almost how the sauce is made on the other side, it's like you have no idea what each university, and you more than me, having worked at multiple universities and admissions, that's not possible for someone else to really know that outside of the admissions office for that specific school. So that was one of the services that we begin to offer as Braden was talking about college interviews. College interviews, college essays are extremely stressful. Those are things that I found that students had the most questions about. So again, after doing sessions, I'm like, wait a second. These are other areas where we don't have any content really, maybe a slide in one of our presentations. Why don't we develop an entire presentation? And it was almost this continuous domino effect where we continued to expand from the one session we offered to we had one slide about college interviewing and essay writing. Then we created sessions on college interviews and essay writing. Like, how do you stand out in your essay? How do you stand out in your interview? And then from both of those, we created two services, one being the mock interviewing service that Braden was talking about, where we actually go through a full-blown interview with a student to prepare them for whatever school they are going to. So, for instance, with him, I went onto the school's website and did my own research and then prepared, questions and made sure when he was answering them, he was, customizing his answers to each of the different, to that specific school. But for any school, you want to make sure that, the answers relate to that specific place. So, and then the essay review, so submitting the essays too. So, I mean, right now, again, we've got so much information, but we also have grown, I would say, not just with sessions, but just the content that we've developed that we put out on social media. So whether it's here on YouTube, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, um, shameless plug to go follow all of those and subscribe if you're listening now to YouTube. But those are all places where we try to get the content out there. So our overall goal is to really begin to get students thinking about the possibility of college, because so often I would talk with students at high schools where no one ever really told them that college was even an option for them. But to talk to me and to hear from me that college was an option and like all you had to do was this, and this, they're like, oh, it's not nearly as hard as I thought. I'm like, it's not. And one thing that I'll add some sessions that we're developing because we're going to develop some new sessions soon because our board of directors actually met a couple of weeks ago and we decided to expand our reach even more in our target populations to include foster youth, adult students, and also veterans. So we are expanding our mission even more. So we will be also over the next couple of months, beginning to offer more sessions and developing more content for those populations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I just love, I love hearing how things are growing because, the students we're working with are changing. I know I said that before. I sound like a broken record, but it's because I think it can't be stated enough that
Yeah.
our students need that encouragement that college, yes, like you mentioned, college can be for them.
Mhm.
Not all schools are able to, talk to students and prepare them and support them in the same way. So for some students, having one person to say, yeah, it is possible. And I've outlined it here. If you don't mind spending a little bit of time on Zoom, I can walk you
Yeah.
through it, right? That opens so many doors for students that thought, the door was shut, it was dead bolted, it was locked, right? It opens those doors and those opportunities for students, which is incredible. Now, speaking of students, right? So we heard so wonderfully from Braden about some of his experiences. You talked a little bit about your coworker that inspired one of the sessions, talking about how things have grown. You've kind of highlighted a couple students that you've been able to really make a meaningful connection with, support and, et cetera, through some of the services since you launched College Knowledge. When you were initially beginning that brainstorming, like thinking about the idea and kind of developing that and kind of, fine tuning it, and
Mhm.
figuring things out, did you have a specific goal of how many students that you wanted to reach? Was it just, we're going to see how many people, like, obviously we want to support as many as we can, but
Sure.
was there a specific number? Was there, as many as possible? I'm super curious because it's been so long that I don't even remember when we had that initial conversation. We had talked about that of, all right, what is this vision that you have? Like,
Mhm.
walk me through it, help me understand. I can't even remember the details of that.
So I think in the terms, I often will think in the terms of how do I do the most for what's in front of me right now. So for Braden, for instance, we did, 4 or 5 different sessions after the group session that we had done with Junior Leadership Cumberland that he was a part of. So in my mind, I think of us helping students as how can we help that one student as much as we possibly can. Not focusing on the masses, but Braden has a good experience. He's going to tell someone. Actually did something similar with his sister, and then or his sister tells someone, or his parents then tell someone because they know what I've done for, 2 of their kids. So, that's when I think about, who do I want to reach? Anyone who has questions about college, who has anything, I can help them or I can direct them to someone who can. Initially, thinking about doing this, I wanted to do maybe one or two Zoom sessions throughout every couple of months or something like that. And as we begin to develop more sessions, I thought to myself, maybe we do a little bit more frequently. But I thought about, for instance, the Zoom account, which is, a few $100s throughout the year. Our website, a few $100s throughout the year, traveling costs, all these different things. I'm like, originally I was going to do it all for free, but I'm like, this is all money that I'm going to have to spend. Maybe I'll charge a low cost. So like most of our sessions you can sign up for throughout the month for like $10 at most for a session. Some of the smaller, like individual sessions may be a little bit more, but one of our target audiences is a low income population because they don't have that help. But if you were to come to me or someone else on the team or someone I knew that said, hey, I know this family, I know they can't afford the $10 session, would you still be willing to help? Of course. But I also would like to not have all of the money come out of my pocket, which is why I wanted to become a nonprofit organization, because we're able to get support from organizations and different companies, but also once people donate, like we've been having so many people do graciously today, they can, use that and write off on their taxes. So, becoming a nonprofit organization to me was a no-brainer, because that will allow me to reach even more students.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think accessibility is definitely the key for sure. And so exciting to hear that we have participation for Giving Tuesday. So that is
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
We love it. So we've talked a bit about the different services offered, how things have been growing. There's so much information to cover, right? I think we've kind of established that, and there's so many different, resources, support available through us, through a lot of different entities as well.
Sure.
Let's say with all of this information, all of this, resource, all of these resources available at at a student's fingertips, right? There's a lot. If it's overwhelming, because it is so much, if a student is just stuck, they know they have that interest, they have that little spark of maybe college is for me.
Uh-huh.
Where do I start? What do I do? I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. What services of the ones that we offer, what do you recommend for students as that starting point when they just do not know what to do because they are so overwhelmed?
Sure. So I would say two things, two different ways that they can start. One is to sign up for our beginning your college search session. That is really the basics. How do you just begin to think about what you need to begin to do as it relates to beginning that college search? So that's what I would say would probably be the one of the first options. The other option is on our website, they can book a free like 15-minute consultation, where I basically, or someone on the team just picks their brain, and we go, okay, we can kind of then develop a plan as to here are the sessions that you need to, that you need to do. So I would say either one of those or both of those would probably work. More than likely, I would tell someone anyway, just because at some point they have to begin, but do that session anyway. The begin in your college search, but we do offer free consultation where people are able to, hop on here with me or hop on the phone, and I just kind of pick their brain and kind of figure out where their head's at to then begin to talk about, okay, here are the next steps, and kind of develop a plan with them as to what they need to do next.
Absolutely. Incredible. I mean, I think you mentioned this earlier during our time together tonight, that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak for you, but as a former admissions counselor, I know that trying my best to meet students where they were,
Yeah.
that's the only way to go, right? That way you're able
Hmm.
to best support them. So having those two different options that you talked about, that you recommended, especially the consultation,
Hmm.
really helping the student figure out like, okay, you help me understand what kind of knowledge base you have already, what you're aware of, what you're thinking, and then we'll go from there. Incredible. I love that. It is so important.
Because they all have different needs.
Absolutely. And then with so many different things available and so many different avenues to talk about, then you're able to more efficiently, go through and figure out, okay, here's where I need to connect them with topic wise or
Exactly.
resource
Yeah.
wise, etc., to really be able to put them on the right path, because ultimately that's what you're doing. That's what we are doing, that we're trying to put students on that good path so that they can, make sure those doors stay open, right?
100%.
The doors open and that they then stay open.
Hmm.
I love it. So we have talked about a lot of different stuff, as I mentioned, our different services, resources, the impacts and things like that. And it's amazing that you've been able to do all of this, that we've been able to do all of this over the past couple of years. Because again, I cannot believe it's been a couple of years. This is incredible. I love it.
Neither can I.
What keeps you going through this? Because I know just in our conversations and just with what you've, talked about in the past 5 minutes alone, just, I'll jump on a call with this student, or, we'll meet for this Zoom session that we're hosting, or we'll review this essay. There's so much going on, so many ideas to brainstorm and develop, and so many directions that I know you're planning on going and that you can be going. What keeps you truly going, motivated to keep doing this and to keep developing to really be able to offer these resources and support for the students.
I would say in a nutshell, it's almost what I was telling Braden when I had that one interaction with him where he talked about, here was the most stressful thing that he thought or that he saw in the college in his college the admissions process was the interview. And then for me to get that response from him saying that was the most stressful part, he went into it confident, and then all of the questions that I had asked him to prepare him, all of those were asked. It's like for me, I'm like, okay, that's literally why I started it. If I can help that one student, that's to me, that's it. And over the years, whether it be a parent, whether it be a student, whether it be someone in the community who I partnered with, or someone at a high school that have referred someone to me, to be able to hear from that student that I was able to make some type of positive impact to ease a little bit of the stress for them. That's it. I think what drives me every single day in anything that I do is how do I help someone overcome some type of obstacle that's in front of them to get to that next stage. So not removing the obstacle, but like, here's what now you can do to now, being that assistant to them, like, okay, here's what you can do. Now you're over it. Now, you can begin to flourish. So in all reality, I feel like those are that's what keeps me kind of motivated. And some of the things that over time that we've received is thank you letters. So I'd like to introduce Hannah Shepley, who's been a huge supporter of College Knowledge since I had the idea, literally before even starting it or even starting the planning for that first session. Who's been an outreach coordinator for us for a couple of years now, and serves on our operations committee. But also, Hannah is about to enter into, along with me, our second year on the board of directors for College Knowledge, and she's also our secretary, one of the officers. So I'd like to introduce her because she's got some thank you letters that some students have written us. So she's going to read some excerpts from some of those. But reading those and having her and her husband Taylor, who's also on the board of directors now, having them help and live so close, and literally us sit down some nights and just sit down and like read some of the thank you letters. I'm like, this is it. This is why we keep doing it. So I'll let Hannah take it away.
Thank you so much, Donovan. I definitely have to agree when you brought some of these letters just to show us, just the motivation just comes through that. There's the individual people that they're learning so much and they're so
Yeah.
motivated and just excited to continue on.
And I would say a lot of
So,
it too at times is shocking when we hear so much of what they're saying of how much they didn't know. I was like, oh
yeah.
wow, like you know you're helping, but you don't realize you're making that big of an impact.
Absolutely. So Miss Robinson says, Mr. Lindsay, from the time I started middle school, I've been excited about going to college. Your presentation made me feel more prepared, and everything you said made me feel ready for college. I took so many notes and was making sure I heard everything you said. I don't know how to choose the college best for me, but I do know that it has to be for me, and I shouldn't have to worry about anything else.
Ooh, love that.
Miss Russell says, I participated this week and I really wanted a personal thank you for giving your presentation to me and the other students. Your presentation helped me understand how to go about applying for college. I now know how to go about my many decisions from here and on. I wasn't really planning on going to college because I felt like it was just too confusing and stressful. But because of your presentation, I'm definitely reconsidering it. I've decided that if I do apply for college, I want to be able to talk with you and continue to learn from you. From Mr. Sutliff, Mr. Lindsay, thank you for your presentation on college information. I've been struggling to figure out what information I need for college, and your presentation really helped me. I found a lot of information just really, really helpful. Getting this college information can be confusing, but your presentation was very clear to me. You've made my search for college information drastically easier, and I thank you for that. And then Miss U, during your introduction, I realized that you had helped in junior leadership and that I had applied for that and we had worked together there. I think that what you do with College Knowledge Foundation is wonderful, and I will definitely be signing up for sessions and applying to be an ambassador. Thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. And just one last one here, real quick here. Mr. Elderberry, I wanted to thank you for coming and explaining things about college. Every question I had was answered. You did an incredible job with your presentation. I really enjoyed it and appreciated it. I can gladly say I am now aware of college knowledge. I would make sure that I go and check it out one of the sessions. I was really nervous for choosing the wrong college, but after hearing you talk about college and stuff, I feel more prepared with college. You should continue informing kids about college because honestly, school doesn't do that great of a job. I'm going to start focusing more on college, and that's all because of your presentation.
So that's what keeps me motivated, Katie. I mean, seeing those, and there's so many other letters. I mean, I don't even know how many we've read, and I know they've helped me respond to them, but like there's so many letters out there like that. And for me, that's it. Like that's the driving force. That's why I'll hop on Zoom at, any point throughout the day and try to help someone out.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I have not heard any of the thank yous, so just the snippets that Hannah read to us. Oh my gosh. It's so special, so meaningful. I mean, so many students really just emphasizing what you came up with the idea of and have brought so many people together that we are putting so much effort into, cultivating and creating. It's making a difference, right? It's not just people saying, "Oh, thank you for the presentation. That was great. Thanks." It was, "Thank you for helping me understand where I needed to start," right? "Thank you for helping me understand that I didn't think college was for me and now I feel more excited about it." Like that is truly magical and that is so, so special. And I mean, you can't deny that, right?
Yeah.
Hearing that right there, which is incredible. So that absolutely would motivate me as well. That was a very, very great answer to that question. Thank you. I think we all needed a warm fuzzy moment like that too. Again, I love
Agreed.
those warm fuzzies.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that are joining us live, for those of you that might be watching this later, after hearing all of this, hearing about the support that's being provided for students, the way that we're working to empower these students, who might be interested in making a donation and supporting, us so that we can continue supporting them. Donovan, can you talk a little bit about what a potential donation, what that money might go towards, and how they are then indirectly supporting the students that we are working with?
Sure. So, anything that someone gives first, of course, just helps us operate, making sure that a Zoom account is available. The link that I send out works. So, the money will go to first, helping operationally with the cost of being able to just be here, whether it be our website, whether it be the Zoom account, whether it be me being able to travel. But then, after that, our goal is to really kind of invest back into the students. So not only do we want to try to help them with the knowledge, the tools, and the resources where they can be successful, we also want to help, especially when it comes to that low income audience. Maybe they attend one of our sessions and we can help them pay for an application fee. Or maybe we could help them pay an acceptance fee, or maybe we can help them travel to a school that that they didn't think they would normally be able to travel to. And even, being able to pay for books and for give scholarships, long-term goals. That's where we're really seeing this take off to and go. So any little bit helps. I know at times people think, just a dollar or two, why would they need just a dollar or two from me? But we have 100 people just give us a dollar or two. That's a couple $100. So one of the things we've been trying to do today, for Giving Tuesday is to try to get about 200 people to donate $5. So our goal today was $1,000. So, looking at the overall goal of what we're trying to do, $5, okay, that's maybe skipping a cup of coffee, one day a month. So we have one-time donations that they can do. We utilize the Zephy platform. Zephy, basically, I'd say it's built for nonprofit organizations because and it's so intuitive to what a nonprofit organization needs. You can set up monthly donations on there. So let's say like one of the options that we have, but of course someone can put how much they would like to donate themselves. One of the options we have is you can donate, you can have $5.99 come from your check every month. Over time, over the year, that's $72. We get 10 people to do that. It's $720. That pays for a lot of different things that we're, a lot of different things and resources that we're able to utilize to provide more services and sessions and things like that. So on here, you see the link, or you see the QR code that can be scanned, and then also in our chat live on YouTube, I'll also put the link there so people can also have that and be able to just go directly to the Zephy website and also donate. But any little donation, any large donation, I can't express how much that helps. And and I would say donations in monetary form are great, but maybe you have expertise in college admissions or financial aid or helping people prepare for essays or interviews or, the SATs or prep or, something like that. Love to hear from you, because these are all other ways that we can have people donate. And one of the biggest ways that people can help support us is just spread the word. Literally just spread the word about what we do. So students know, whether it's just one student, whether it's a parent, whether it's a school principal, counselor, superintendent, teacher, knowing that we're out there. And one of the nice things about us, having worked in college admissions, you go into a school and you talk about admissions related things, there's always a tint on it of the university you're coming from. So it's never really coming from of unbiased perspective, because you're collecting a salary. But what we do is we come in from an unbiased perspective, not even pushing college, let alone a university at all, but here's the information that you need to be successful. And we've got the knowledge, the tools, and the resources, whether it be an in-person session or virtual session, or just visiting our website or one of our social media platforms.
Absolutely. I think time, talent, treasure is what everybody says. And everyone is important, right? In
Agreed.
their own ways. So absolutely wonderful. Well, I think those are all the questions that I had for you all, or for you, excuse me.
Yeah.
So I mean, thank you all for anybody that joined us. Thank you for anybody that joined us live. Thank you to anybody that is joining us later. And, thank you everybody for any support that has been provided. Again, as we just said, if it was time, talent, treasure, every little bit is appreciated and helpful in, making sure that we're able to connect with students to support and empower them to be their best selves.
Yeah,
And
can't thank you
be able
enough
to
for
make your
hosting.
future happen.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Braden, thank you for joining. Sharing those stories, and Hannah, the letters. That's why we do it, and hopefully we can continue to do it with the support of everyone. But again, thank you everyone. If anyone has questions, want to connect, please let me know.